Don't panic, folks. It's a CBD joint, CBD only, THC free. But we are back. We are recapping UFC Greenville. We got a Boom Machino. What else is new? Beautiful summer day. What a great card, man. Did that card deliver? There was a lot of finishes on that card, and it was really exciting fights. On paper, it wasn't like the most exciting matchups as far as name star power goes, but that card delivered, man. From the first fight to the last fight, there's a lot of good finishes on that card. Eric Spicely and Deron Wynn started off the card with a banger. They were, Eric Spicely was out of the UFC. He was cut. Then they brought him back in to fight Deron Wynn. He came off a couple of big wins on the regional scene. And him and Deron Wynn were fighting like they needed a big victory. Eric Spicely showed up. He's primarily a jiu-jitsu guy, but he came out there striking pretty hard. And that was a fun fight. Those guys got fight of the night. Deron Wynn, really short guy for the weight class, but man, he packs power in his punch. Obviously trains with the best guys in the world, Cain Velasquez and Daniel Cormier, and that shows in his fights. He has a lot of confidence, as you saw in his post-fight interview. He's like, I'll walk these short legs to the top of the division. You watch me. So, that guy's running with some confidence. He's undefeated too, so that's big. And, but Eric Spicely was not going away in that fight. Both of those guys were taking big shots. Spicely was landing good knees in the clinch and a couple of good overhands connected too. And, Deron Wynn was saying that was the first time he was rocked in a fight before. So props to those guys. They deserve fight of the night. That was awesome. And Deron got the win. Boom. Also in the main event, Korean Zombie came back big time against Renato Moicano after his loss against Yair Rodriguez, but a brutal knockout loss. That was big, man. Came in with the overhand right. That was a fast reaction, a great counter to that strike that Renato threw. And he hurt him and probably for a little bit, and he was, he wasn't, and he got hit flush with that right hand, but he was still trying to fight. And then Korean Zombie jumped on his back, flattened him out there, and he started wailing away on him. And it was, he was still out of it, but big victory for Korean Zombie, man. He looked great. I love his walkout music. In your head. In your head, it's in your head. La, 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 la. Great walkout music. Zombie by the Cranberries. But yeah, that was a great rebound fight for him coming back from that loss to Yair. And we'll see who they match him up with next. Maybe he'll get the Aldo rematch or something along those lines. That would be cool to see. Also on the card, the second fastest heavyweight knockout in history by Jairzinho, knocking out Alan Crowder really fast, and he dropped him with a jab. Man, that just goes to show how much power that guy has. He followed up on the ground, really precise too with his ground and pound finish, and Crowder was out cold, man. That was nasty. But yeah, second fastest knockout in heavyweight history. So that was big. I feel like it must have been a hard night to do performance of the night bonuses because there was a lot of finishes on this card. We had Brian Barberena getting finished by Randy Brown. Barberena's coming off two big losses now, both by TKO. And Randy Brown to be able to finish a guy like Barberena is not an easy task. And I picked against Randy Brown in this fight. I thought Barberena was going to be able to, use his grindingness and get in his face and kind of break down Randy Brown. But it was the opposite, man. Randy stayed in there. He used his range really well, and he listened to his coaches. In between the second round, they said, "Listen, no more grappling." And he said, all right, no more grappling. Went in there, finished the fight with body shots, solid body shots against the cage, and then put him away. And that was a really big finish for Randy Brown, who was also coming off a loss, I believe. Second straight loss for Barberino. We'll see where he goes next. Andre Ewell, I thought he looked very much improved from his last fight out against Nathaniel Wood. He was going back and forth with Anderson Dos Santos as well. And, man, he had that really good in and out game. He was in, out, back in with that left crisp straight. He kept landing that thing over and over. He was busting up Anderson's face. Anderson actually showed a lot of durability, though, in the third round. I believe he took Andre Ewell's back and was working from there. So that was a close fight too. But Andre Ewell was definitely getting the better of the striking there, and he looked to be a little bit faster, a little bit sharper, and just a little better everywhere in this fight compared to his last outing. I believe he spoke about that in his interviews leading up. Andrea Lee comes against Montana De La Rosa. This was a back-and-forth fight as well, very competitive fight. Andrea Lee just seemed to have a little bit more in her to win the exchanges and the grappling exchanges, and she was in a submission there late in the round, and I thought she might have been in trouble with that Darce attempt. I think, if possible, try to lock her leg over and around the back. I think that would have helped to get the finish there, but Andrea Lee found her way out of that. So tough, so durable, and got the decision victory. Kevin Holland, he popped the shoulder out in the fight. He was fighting DiCirico. I'm not quite sure if he really won this fight. That was a close said. Holland talking to his corner is like, man, I popped my shoulder out. The doctor comes in. He's like, is everything all right? The shoulder? I saw something was wrong with the shoulder. He's like, huh? Yeah, something happened to your shoulder. Huh? Yeah, your right shoulder. Everything okay? Huh? I thought that was hilarious. Yeah, he didn't want the doctors to stop it, so staying in there. And, he's just a weird, funky guy, hard to get a hold of, hard to predict where his strikes are coming from and where his movements are going. So hard guy to fight in Kevin Holland. Good victory for him. But although that was a close fight, it could have went either way, in my opinion. I thought DiCirico was kind of octagon control, a little bit more precise with his accuracy with the strikes. And Ige, Kevin Aguilar, man, Ige, I was really impressed with his patience in this fight because he had Aguilar badly hurt with those left hooks he was landing, and he just stayed with his hands up, stalked him down. He didn't overreact. He didn't go for the finish too hard, but he also picked his shots and was really precise with hard shots. And sometimes it takes a lot of patience and a lot of maturity to go in and see a guy's hurt, but not just rush him and try to finish him and get overzealous and kind of, blow your load in there, not finish the guy and then have to deal with being gassed out and fighting a guy who maybe the momentum is switching back. So that was really veteran stuff from Ige to stay patient, keep landing his shots, and he looked really impressive, man. He's coming off a lot of big wins. He had some early finishes before this fight. Kevin Aguilar 17-1 before this, and what a tough guy, man. Hard to put away. And he stayed in there the whole fight, even though he was taking some big shots, and he looked rocked for a little while there on his feet. But he was landing some good head kicks, and he's an aggressive, strong fighter. He landed a couple of good takedowns, but Danny Ige just able to scramble out of those takedowns and kind of reverse the position and end up on top, and just landed the bigger shots and hurt. Impressed with Ige. He called out Thug Nasty after the fight. I think that's a cool fight. I hope we get to see that fight next. Matt Wyman came back, and he's really tough, man, but Luis Pena is showing a lot more aggression in his fights. He's really tall and lengthy for the weight class. He's been out for like 5 years, so I really wasn't surprised at this result, but I was surprised at how dominant Luis Pena looked. His ground and pound was nasty. He was really going in there with killer instinct to try to finish the fight, and he had that referee. He's on Wyman for coming back after 5 years off and still trying to get in there, perform, and he hung in there, took a lot of hard shots, and wasn't going to give up. So it's good to see, but the game might have passed him by. Ariana Lipsky, Molly McCann, the meatball. Man, I love this girl's tenacity. Who doesn't love meatball right now? I love her accent, her tenacity. She comes in there to finish fights, man. She doesn't care if she's hurt. She doesn't care if she's cut up or bloody. She's still in your face, throwing big bombs. She seems to have used her range really well in this fight, but and also was able to get inside really well. Lipsky was doing the right thing as far as game plan goes, but Molly McCann was, ducking under, moving in quick, and landing big hooks, round punches to Lipsky's head. And Lipsky had a couple of nice head kicks. cut her up there on the side of the eye. But Molly McCann just seemed to be a little bit too much, a little stronger than her. She had a couple good power doubles in there. Those takedowns definitely scored for her on the judges' scorecards, and she came out with the victory, the decision. 3 rounds, good experience, good for her to get those 3 rounds in there, and man, what a big win for her. And I just love the fans are starting to, she's fighting in America. She's fighting in, Greensville, and the crowd is on her side. So that says a lot. She has a lot of potential star power right now. I'd like to see her fight in the UK and, have those people going nuts for her. It's always a fun scene to have that. And yeah, so that was pretty much UFC Greenville in short and quick. Great card, man. A lot of finishes, and not even even the fights that went to decision were like really exciting fights. So that was a banger of a card. Really fun to watch that card. Moving on over to BKFC, we had Paulie and Artem. Now, going into this fight, a lot of emotions, a lot of shit talk back and forth, and I honestly thought that this was going to be more of a scrappy fight and more of a, I thought Artem was going to come out hot and just be in his face and brawling him, just kind of like the Jason Knight style fight. Obviously Paulie's a different style, and he's a boxer who's trying to use points and movement and head movement, footwork, stuff like that. But it was a really lackluster fight, in my opinion, for what I thought it would have been. I thought Paulie was going to go in more emotional, let go of his hands more. He said he might have broke his hand in the second round, so maybe that was a reason why. But, man, I was also surprised to see the respect that they were showing. After, like, the third and fourth round, they were kind of fist-bumping each other at the end of the round. They gave hugs after the fight. It was nice to see, but I was shocked to see it. I thought maybe the hatred would travel past this fight, but nonetheless, I think this was a one-off for Paulie. He got paid. He lost the fight by decision, and he's 36 years old. He retired from boxing for a reason, and if you can't dominate a guy like Artem, not to say he's not a good fighter, but two-time world champion boxing couldn't really outbox Artem. It's a good sign for him to just and have more wars, I'm sure. But he did beat in the fight. He landed some good punches. I think Paulie was kind of a little more off balance on some of those shots rather than real sharp, crisp landings. But Paulie had a good jab. He was landing the jab to the body, to the head, but nothing really had too much. And he knock him off balance or knock him down. I truly think by points, Paulie won the fight. That's just my opinion. I think he landed more jabs, landed more overall strikes. He made Artem miss more, and you see him stumble a little bit and trip and lose balance on a couple of shots, and that could have been the difference maker for the decision. But it is what it is, man. Overall, I think it's a good thing for this feud to be over and for Paulie to kind of get out of there. The guy loves to talk. I think he does a great job commentating. He's one of the best in the game at analysis and color commentator for boxing. So I'd like to see him just keep taking that on, and we'll see where they put Artem next. Whether he gets the winner of Jason Knight, Leonard Garcia. That fight's gonna be fucking bloody and crazy and wild. That's right up bare knuckles alley. So we'll see what happens with that fight and what happens next. But yeah, Chris Lehman lost. Dakota Cochrane. He has some power, man. That was a scary fight. Lehman looks like a zombie in there. I've seen him in the UFC look similar. He takes big shots and he's just kind of like stumbling around like a zombie, but just won't go down. It's crazy. Hard to put that guy out. But that was a back and forth fight. I thought that fight was going to get finished by a knockout, but crazy that it went to decision. But yeah, big win for Cochrane. No more fucking porn star action for him. Stick to fighting and, maybe do both. Who knows? Guys, go check out my song, by the way. 3-piece and a soda. Jorge Masvidal retweeted it. He put it on his Twitter. It's out there. Check it out. Boom is spitting fucking bars. We're making music. I got to make some cover art so we can put some more songs up on Spotify. Search me on Spotify. Just search Boom. That's the rap name. That's the fight name, and you could probably find some of the music on there. The only song that I have on there right now is called "Wasted Time." This three-piece and a soda I'm gonna put up in the next week, and then we got a couple more songs in the making. Sorry for the sniffles, deviated septum. You guys fucking know by now. So you want to be an Ultimate Fighter? Let's get to some fan questions here. What do we got? What do we got? What do we got? Boom breakdown. Boom breakdown. Who do you want Korean Zombie to fight next? This is by Brandon Schwab at JesseJess1F ... on Twitter. Korean Zombie 145. It's hard, man. You could look to give him the Aldo rematch. You know, up there for title contention. You could. I think Zabit is matched up right now, but you could do a Zabit fight. That would be a crazy fucking fight right now. I want to see that. That'd be awesome. That's a good style matchup. I really don't know which way they're gonna go. You know, Aldo rematches you don't really see that often, but I think that's not a bad move, being that Aldo's kind of on the tail end, and Korean Zombie looks to be sharp still, and he looks to be back in action. So, you know, that's a good opportunity for him to get back in the mix and, you know, maybe fight the loser of Frankie Edgar and Max Holloway. You know, depending on if Edgar loses, probably not getting a fight for a while. He's got to reset himself. So if Edgar loses, I would go with that fight. That would be a good fight for Korean Zombie. Yeah, we'll see. I don't know what they're going to do next. Kyle Greaves. I was at that fight last night. It sucked. Paulie looked like he had no interest in getting hit. I agree. He looked a little bit timid. So did Artem. It almost looked like there was too much respect as far as the fight went after all the talk. You know, it's like neither one of them wanted to get embarrassed by the other guy, so they didn't pull the trigger like they might have in other fights. Paulie obviously hasn't fought in a while, and I think he was a little bit like, what, you know, unexpected, you know, how to deal with punches coming at him, and you know, you're gonna get caught up in there if you get caught. A little bit more aware of defense and movement, and you know, Artem really, yeah, I thought he would pull the trigger more and just say fuck it and come forward and just try to brawl with him. But both guys kind of had a little bit of lackluster, you know, aggression. And yeah, Paulie definitely looked a little worried. It even seemed like before the fight he was like shaking, and maybe that's his thing, but I just saw like a lot of nerves, you know, going, kind of get rid of him. But yeah, not the best. Definitely didn't live up to the hype in my opinion, but it is what it is, man. What do you expect? Yeah, so we got UFC Minneapolis coming up. We got Junior Dos Santos versus Francis Ngannou. That's a crazy heavyweight fight. We got to get some more fucking interaction here, man. We need some more comments in this section. I got guys asking me, have you ever dated any female UFC fighters? No, I haven't. I stay away from the fighters for some reason. I prefer more of a girly girl, you know, a little balance in my life. I don't think I can handle any more fight talk, any more training and stuff like that. It's good to kind of get away from that side of things and separate those two aspects of life. Kyle Grease, I was surprised by how many people were there. The event seemed pretty successful as far as the attendance. I noticed that too. I mean, for bare knuckle fighting, that was definitely their biggest attendance. A lot of people there in Florida. I don't know if that was just the academic of where they were located, or if that was the Paulie Artem hype, or, you know, they promoted the fight really well, and I think they're going to need more of that for, you know, bigger sales, bigger, you know, selling out arenas and stuff like that. They're definitely going to need some more style matchups, personalities, and guys clashing heads, and a lot more shit talk and storylines and stuff like that for them to build their brand. Or just fights like Jason Knight, Artem Lobov. If they keep having fights like that, that's crazy exciting to watch. So, you know, that'll definitely bring more eyes as well. Yeah, so this was just a short recap, you know, UFC Greenville. Just wanted to touch up on that. We'll be back early on, you know, probably midweek this week coming up. maybe Wednesday, Thursday, but I will put a tweet out there to go live for to break down UFC Minneapolis. Maybe I get, a little A-side live chat action, or we get a little MMA beat action, or we, pair up with somebody. I'm looking to do the same thing. I'm trying to start my new channel. I call it the Boom Breakdown when I break down these fights, but I want to start a new channel called The Fighter's Eyes. That's my vision. Being in this business, fighting for the last 15 to 17 years, following the sport, a huge fan of the sport, watching interviews, media, stuff like that. I'd like to start having people on my show as well, and interview fighters, coaches, etc., whoever, and maybe break down some fights with other journalists and media members, fighters, whoever wants to link up and pair up and break down some fights and have a little back and forth podcast with me. Boom Breakdown, The Fighter's Eyes. Hit me up, DM me on Twitter, Instagram, Brian Boom 135. Follow me. If you can give a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, I'd really appreciate it. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll be back next time for UFC. I believe it's Minneapolis. I don't know if I'm getting that right, but split with them. Who gives a fuck, right? Boom, baby. Thanks, guys.